What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. It is the 22nd day of December, and here we are sitting at about $590 with 10 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Okay, here we are, 590, and we've wicked down a little bit today. We've pulled back up. Shout out to the Dragon Riders, by the way, in the House of the Dragon. Here we are, finding support at prior resistance here, prior support there, right? We're finding support here, wicking down and coming back up. We're not worried about the price at all. And I do want to say, this is a thought that I was just having, is that, of course, any day now, I mean, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. Any day now, we're going to see this pressure release, and we're going to break out in every aspect of the word. It's going to be a breakout. I mean, we're going to get weeks like this where it's just insane the amount of growth we get. And while we are on the edge of our seats, anticipating this, fully awaiting for the green dragon to wake up and take flight, it is completely possible, and something that we should address, that we could go to zero. No, that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say was that instead of breaking out right now, we could continue to consolidate until maybe the middle of January and then break out. There are a lot of things. If I was just looking at the Bitcoin Cash chart, I would say this week, next week, the following week, sometime in that time frame, within the next 3 weeks, we should be breaking out. But looking at Bitcoin and how there are some macro things in the crypto space that are set up in January, it might make sense that we could see this consolidation last. Maybe we slowly build up. We're slowly building up, but we're not actually breaking out until the second half of January or later. So while we are on the edge of our seat, it's important to also keep our expectations somewhat grounded in reality. The reality is, any day now, we could see a spectacular pump, but the reality also is that day could be sometime in the middle of January. It could be about a month out from now. So while we are eager, don't get disappointed if it's about 3 weeks from now and we're still in this area more or less. I would assume, though, even if we haven't had a proper breakout 3 weeks from now, we'd still be at higher prices. We'd still be growing much in the same way that we've been growing here since November 21st, right? We've been moving up since November 21st, but it's really like we're just kind of hanging out in the same area, right? Anyways, 1 hour time frame. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, 1 hour time frame here. If I can just speak properly, we are getting some wicks to the upside. The stock market does open up in like 30 minutes. I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I would think that the stock market will close green today. I would think that we do move up. We might open down, so there could be some volatility with Bitcoin Cash and the rest of the markets. We might open down with the stock markets, but then come back up afterwards. Looking at the 1 hour RSI, the RSI is at the same area that we found resistance before. A little bit of a double top there. Stochastics could find resistance here, though it's a little bit less common. And the MACD is also at a point where you'd expect it to find resistance. Though you do have bullish divergence. I don't know. You're at a kind of make it or break it point. You're either going to find resistance here, or we're going to see some nice movement today. What do I mean by nice movement? I mean, like, by the end of today, we're at $630, something like that. You know, we're back up here. It's very possible that that's what we see. I want to look at the 4 hour time frame, because the stochastics give me a little bit of hope. The MACD gives me some hope too. The RSI, I'm not as big of a fan of, but it hasn't rejected yet. Again, maybe the stock market opens up. We're here in the RSI right here. Maybe the stock market opens up, we come down a little bit, and then we pump going into the latter parts of today. 4 hour time frame here, looking at this. RSI's got like a double bottom. You're kind of neutral here. Overall bullish, but kind of neutral. Stochastics look good. This promotes growth over the coming days for sure. And the MACD, I mean, you're dying off in bearish momentum. You look good enough here. It's nothing special. There's not really anything to go off of with the MACD. But with the price and the stochastics, I'm very confident that the coming days are going to be good. This week should be a green week. So whether it's a breakout week or not, I'm not 100% sure. We're waiting for that. It could happen at any moment. But we bounced right off our 0.5. Once we get above $602, once a 4 hour time frame or a daily time frame closes above 602, let's call it 603, at that point we validate this as a higher low, and at that point we look to take out that high there. So I mean, any day now we could be at like 650, 640, something like that. I mean, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. Very, very soon though. On that note, actually, hold on, let's see. BCH gets a Bitcoin Cash here. What will the price of Bitcoin Cash or BNB? Oh, this is already past one. Damn, they don't have it on Polymarket. They don't have it on Polymarket. They do have it on Kalshi though. Kalshi, you can bet on Bitcoin Cash's price by the end of the year. I think it's like 20%. Let me check right now. Actually, I'm kind of curious if anybody's looking at prediction markets doing anything like that. Kalshi. The issue with prediction markets is also part of what's great about prediction markets is there's low liquidity, but that's kind of an issue if you're using like a lot of money. If you're having fun with it, playing around, it can be fun. But hold on, let me just see here. We're gonna look up Bitcoin Cash, BCH. How high can Bitcoin Cash get by the end of this year? You guys, on Kalshi right now, there is a 27% chance. Therefore, if you were to, let's say, throw $100, you could turn that $100 into a 3.5x, basically a 3x. You could turn that $100 into $300 if you, instead of putting it in Bitcoin Cash, if you bet on Bitcoin Cash being above 650 by the end of the year. I don't know. I think it's a safe bet. I would take that bet. I have taken that bet, but not trying to deter people from buying Bitcoin Cash. It's definitely better, more sound, hard money. But if anybody's looking for a good prediction market play, 650 by the end of the year, even 700 by the end of the year, I think is attainable. It depends on a couple of things, but I think the odds are good enough. They're low enough right now where even if 700 wasn't to get hit, the odds would go up where you could cash out and like double your money or something. 650, I'd be very surprised if it was the 1st of January and we haven't crossed back above 650. I'd be very surprised if that had not happened. 4-hour time frame here. Loving the indicators that I'm seeing here. I'm definitely loving this. This tells me that the days to come are definitely going to be bullish. If we're looking at this on the daily time frame, stochastics are a bit weird here, but we're in the same posturing we've been in, so bullish overall. RSI looks bullish. The next move up should take us into the overbought zone. So if we're going to be bullish over the coming days, I think we're setting up for a phenomenal end-of-year rally here. End-of-year rally and maybe even bleeding into January. So I'm just saying, guys, if we're going to rally, like all of this, think about it like this. All of this movement up that we've seen since the 21st of November, while consistent, we've gotten higher lows and higher highs. While consistent, it hasn't been that crazy. Moments of like short burst, but then slow burst, and then slow, and then a burst, right? None of that's been in the overbought zone. Once we get overbought, I mean, here we got overbought. Relative to all these movements here, like this was a nice little move, but then you move sideways. This was a nice little move, you move sideways. This was a nice little move, but you move sideways. Once you actually got overbought, like a little bit more here, you saw a bigger move, right? It wasn't the biggest move, but you did see a notably bigger move, and that's the point, right? Here, it's relative. It's the relative strength index. Here, you've seen these moves. Once you get overbought, you should see a bigger move. I really wouldn't be surprised at all if by the end of this year we were above $700. I wouldn't be surprised in the least, and I don't know what that. Those odds are 10%, so that's a 9x. If you put $10 in there, you could win $90. You know what I mean? And there's probably not a lot of liquidity in those anyways. There's probably not a lot of volume. $57,000 of volume total traded on that between all those markets. So you're not going to be putting thousands of dollars in there at the current levels if you're looking at the prediction markets. But just a thought. If anybody's looking for a fun way to bet on the price of Bitcoin Cash there. The MACD has crossed green. Now what we want to see is what we don't want to see is this. We don't want to see a light green bar. We don't want to die off in bullish momentum. We want to build bullish momentum. So today needs to close green, and not only that, green enough to where we're actually building bullish momentum again. And I think we'll get that. I see that on the 4-hour. I see that on the 1-hour. So that'll probably happen. We're just waiting, guys. It's the same old song and dance we've been singing and dancing to. We're waiting. You know, it's nice. On the monthly time frame, speaking of the MACD building bullish momentum, it's doing it here. It's starting to build some bullish momentum again, which is pretty awesome. The last time we started building bullish momentum was, in June, and we continued to move up for another 2 months after that. I really do think that last month was a starting point to something that it's going to put Bitcoin Cash on notice for the whole market. The whole market's going to be put on notice of what Bitcoin Cash is and what it's about. So prepare yourselves for a very spectacular series of events over the next couple of months. I do expect by the end of January we're going to be well above $1,000, maybe even above $2,000. Going into February, March, we could be reaching as high as $4,000, $6,000, something like that. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Okay, take care. Bye.